Hi, I'm David from Halo Framing here in Stratford, and I'm with PermaJet today to just show you a little quick demonstration on how we varnish a canvas. Now what we're also going to do is take three grades of varnish. We're going to use matte, we're going to use semi-gloss or satin, and a gloss canvas varnish. And what we're going to do with our piece of canvas artwork here, we're going to divide that into three panels, and matte, semi-gloss and a gloss. And then when that dries off within a few hours time, we'll be able to image that canvas and then show you the different finishes from the three different grades. So first thing, when you're varnishing a canvas, I guess one of the first questions is how long you leave your canvas before you varnish it after printing. One of the easiest answers is for as long as possible. Next day is always great because that ink really dries out nicely, but certainly a couple of hours will make a good difference. Personally, we prefer to roll the varnish using a simple foam roller, and in our tray here we're just going to load up the foam roller with some matte varnish to start off with. So when your roller is new or fresh, you're going to have to load a little bit more varnish into that roller. Nice and easy. And what I want to do, we don't normally do this, but we're just going to cover over a portion of the canvas. Just use a couple of print bags here. So we're going to start on this third of the canvas, and we'll just start with a matte varnish coat. So you want a good loading of varnish onto the roller, and when you first put the varnish on, try and be quite light-handed with the varnishing, because you want to keep as much pressure off the coat, off the ink that's loaded onto the varnish. So nice light touch to start off with. Don't be afraid to load up the roller quite heavily with varnish. And we certainly always put 2 coats of varnish on our canvases. Dry time between the two will depend on the time of year, depending on the ambient temperature, but usually 15-20 minutes between layers is more than enough. And that's our first section varnished with matte varnish. Now, another good tip when you are varnishing a canvas is, kind of counts for most jobs, but make sure your work surface is nice and clean. If you have a small swath of wood or anything underneath here, when you're varnishing over, if there's any mess or swath underneath, that can actually make an indentation on the canvas, and it could also cause the print on the top of the canvas just to rub off. So make sure underneath your canvas it's nice and clean. So that's our first panel with matte. Now going to move on to a semi-gloss, and just going to cover that section over. Cover up our third section. So in the middle now, we're going to use the semi-gloss varnish. So again, load up that new fresh roller with plenty of varnish. And then with a nice delicate touch, nice, clean, progressive forward and backward movements. Obviously the way we're varnishing this job is we're slightly compromised because we're sectioning off 3 areas. But if we were just doing the overall canvas, what you may choose to do, and certainly is good to do, is varnish at 90 degrees. And you get a nice, even spreading then. And watch how the canvas varnish is laying down. Look, just make sure there isn't any little dried bits of varnish in there, or again, any swath that you may have picked up from your workbench. So the middle section there is our semi-gloss. Then we'll go to our last section where we'll lay down the gloss varnish. So once again, load up that foam roller, get loads of canvas varnish in there. And then again, a nice gentle backwards and forwards motion. You'll notice around the actual printed area of the canvas, there's a reasonable amount of spare white canvas. If you're printing a canvas that's going to go onto a stretcher frame, as a picture framer, we certainly need a good reasonable border so that when we stretch the canvas around the stretcher frame, we've got a good amount to roll around the side and pin from the back. So if you're printing a canvas to send to somebody who's going to stretch the canvas around the stretcher frame, please give them lots of spare white, lots of spare canvas. So that's our gloss layer. Simple as that. Now I appreciate we've laid down some paper on these different sections. We're hoping that won't affect the finish too much. So we've got a matte on the left, a semi-gloss in the middle, and a gloss on the right-hand side. And as these dry out, when it's all finished, we'll take some images and then we can see the difference between the three different finishes. Hopefully that's a nice simple guide. We'll go through shortly in about 15-20 minutes and lay down a second coat on each of the three sections. Hope that helps. Many thanks.